This is your 420 Radio News for Friday, January 10th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. The Department of Health and Human Services in Maine has rejected petitions to add Tourette syndrome to the list of conditions that qualify for medical marijuana. According to the four-doctor panel that issued the rejection, cannabis has not been studied well enough to demonstrate its safety and efficacy in treating Tourette's. Furthermore, wrote the panel, quote, "The safety must be demonstrated for children and adolescents, as these are the age groups in which Tourette's syndrome is most prominent," end quote. Dr. Dustin Sulak, who testified in favor of the petition, remarked, quote, "This denial is what I was expecting. The philosophy behind the denial, however, contains many errors," end quote. Sulak explained that the medications currently used for Tourette's are being used off-label, meaning those drugs have never been approved by the FDA to treat Tourette's, and that marijuana's illegality has thwarted study of its efficacy in treatment. Still, Dr. Sulak presented studies to that effect, but they were rejected by the board as too short in duration and too few in participants. The Kentucky House Health and Welfare Committee listened to an hour's worth of testimony Thursday from parents of children suffering from severe epilepsy asking for the legalization of medical cannabis. Josh Stanley, one of the brothers in Colorado, who is cultivating the Charlotte's Web variety of cannabis that is high in epilepsy-reducing cannabidiol, also testified, telling how they are treating 300 children, including 10 emigres from Kentucky to Colorado, with the high CBD oil featured prominently in the Dr. Sanjay Gupta documentary Weed. While no House member has yet filed a bill to legalize medical marijuana, Democratic State Representative Mary Lou Marzian of Louisville offered her support for such a measure. Two House Republicans urged caution and prefer that the federal government conduct clinical trials on the medicine first, with one representative, Robert Benvenuti of Lexington, expressing his belief that medical marijuana is a, quote, Trojan horse to legalize recreational use of marijuana, end quote. The story of Charlotte Figi controlling her epilepsy with CBD oil also figured prominently in the Florida State House, as the House Criminal Justice Subcommittee listened to testimony from parents of epileptic children desperate for this medicine, ready to move to Colorado. Representative Matt Gaetz, a Republican, shot down nearly every objection his fellow committee members offered. When one representative, the wife of a doctor, asked about the clinical trials on this medicine, parents explained their children don't have the years to wait before that happens. Representative Charles Van Zant, an arch-conservative Baptist preacher, said, quote, "I don't think this is substance abuse. I think it's using this wisely," end quote. By the end of the hearing, Representative Gaetz proclaimed, quote, "I am going to ask Speaker Weatherford to approve a proposed committee bill that will contain this language for Charlotte's Web so that these people do not have to be criminals," end quote. However, when asked Wednesday whether he'd sign a bill for CBD-only medical marijuana, Republican Governor Rick Scott said, quote, "I oppose illegal drug abuse. I've watched what it does to families. I think the Attorney General has done the right thing with the advice opposing the medical marijuana initiative she gave the Supreme Court. Have a great day," end quote. Fleeing a police officer in your car with an open container of alcohol, smelling like marijuana after leaving a strip club in Detroit, is likely to get you arrested and jailed. But not if you're the president of the city council. Detroit Police Chief Craig James has ordered an investigation into why police supervisors told officers to merely cite Council President Pro Tem George Cushingberry after reports he made an illegal turn at 10 p.m. after leaving the parking lot of a gentleman's club. As police lit their lights and sounded their sirens, Cushingberry's car reportedly nearly clipped the police car and sped off. Another police cruiser joined and gave chase, and after stopping Cushingberry, they noticed an open alcohol container and the smell of weed. But upon relaying the info to the supervisor, they were told not to arrest him, but to cite and release him. Cushingberry claims the bottle of rum in the back seat was empty, and the marijuana smell was from his passenger, a medical marijuana patient. Cushingberry, who is black, also claims he's being racially profiled by the officers, who were white. Options for growing medical marijuana in Fresno County, California are going from slim to none. This week, the County Board of Supervisors voted to ban all marijuana cultivation in unincorporated areas of the county. Along with the ban is a fine of $1,000 per plant, with an additional $100 fine for every day after discovery that the plants remain. Supervisors left patients with only one option, cultivating marijuana in areas zoned for manufacturing. On Thursday, in a 5-1 vote, the county planning commissioners decided to ban cultivation even in those manufacturing-zoned areas, leaving patients with no place where they may cultivate marijuana plants in the county. However, the cities of Fresno and Clovis do allow indoor cultivation and outdoor cultivation in locked, secure greenhouses. There are no dispensaries in Fresno County, and the nearest ones are in Oakland and Los Angeles, 3 hours drive away. This has been your 420 Radio News for Friday, January 10th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. When we come back, we go behind the headlines to take a look at efforts to save the medical marijuana industry in the state of Washington and the senator who's trying to get a bill passed to do just that. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back.